Graveyards have long been where people come together to share their sorrow and sadness, but sometimes they also become the place of fear, blood, death, extreme horror, and terror. While most stories might not be true, they might not be false. Welcome to the channel, and today we will look at times when ghosts were spotted in graveyards and cemeteries. Number 1. A cemetery full of frustration. The first clip in this video takes place in a very empty and isolated cemetery, and the workers always seem to have a problem with supernatural powers. Once, a security guard entered the place to inspect if everything was going okay and was suspicious of an intruder hiding inside.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fortunately, there was no intruder inside, but he didn't know that he would be confronted by other forces that felt the same about him inside. Yes, we are not talking about one ghost, but ghosts from many directions, which start slamming things and get increasingly spooky as the video continues.
Where you at?
We would have run out of the place and never returned if it were us. Still, this security guard seems to have massive gut power, which wouldn't be the same after this time. Just like we expected, the guard this time decided to go in broad daylight and showed us the fearless nature of ghosts. Most people think ghosts only come at night. Still, sometimes they visit you when they feel like doing it, and in his second time recording inside,
I'm actually hearing something banging on the door. I'm hoping I'm going to catch this son of a bitch.
we see the ghost responding in what sounds like a very pale and chillingly calm and scary tone. The third time he records inside is something which will make you sleep in the evening, as you'll not even try to close your eyes during the night. This time, the timing couldn't have gone any way worse, and he was up for a scare of a lifetime when he was welcomed by a demonic flickering light from the inside.
I'm really not sure what's going on here. Nope. Yeah, I'm fucking done. This is some spooky fucking shit going on here.
He went inside to check what was happening and then heard a disturbing scream and a shout from the ghosts saying, "Get out." And we're sure to say that this security guard will need therapy. And what do you make of this incident? Have you ever heard some sounds from the other side of the cemetery? Let us know in the comment section below. Number 2. Striking from the back. A YouTuber named Rochelle G got a lifetime surprise when she was scared and scarred by the ghosts in a way that would rock her life. Rochelle was having some terrifying nights as her dreams kept being disturbed or were getting scared in her sleep by a ghost, and she seemed like she might have found who that was and decided to go and talk to the ghost all along with equipment and her friend. And from the first, it was evident that the show had just begun as they got their first message from them, which said,
"We know you."
This was quick to give goosebumps and send them into a wave of shock for some time. But they kept themselves composed and came on a mission to talk with those spirits and know their side of the story. And for the record, the ghosts they were talking to were seen to be deceased a long time ago in the 19th century, which was written on their gravestone.
Your ashes are here in the fort?
In the fort. Oh my God.
And what adds more chills to this story is the age of the ones deceased, and the deceased spirits were very young. One thing they have in common is that they all were too young to be dead. And when they were seen talking about them from gravestones, they got an answer correct. The saga seemed to go on for some minutes until the girls got an answer which they were visibly not ready to, and this was something which made their blood run cold.
18.
My
ashes are here.
It was a clear indication that they should have left, but they then continued to make their way near a place that looked like an entry inside a man-made cave, and they got another response which said,
I can make it cold.
just as a warm-up to be prepared for what they were about to witness next. Followed by this reply, the invisible figures seemed to have grabbed one of them, and after that immediately left the place with love to save their lives.
We're gone. Rochelle, I just had a freaking cold stripe up my back. I'm gonna go.
What do you make of this incident? Will you ever visit a graveyard again after watching this video? Let us know in the comments. Number 3. And if the first two weren't enough to scare you out, we don't know if you will stick in the third video as things get even scarier and twisting. And this one might be something you would have never expected in your lifetime. This scary and blood-curdling paranormal video was posted on YouTube by a YouTube channel named The Paranormal Flies, which is famous for its paranormal investigations.
We have regularly over the years discovered evidence of black magic, brujeria. We have found severed heads of livestock, body parts.
And this time, they have made their way to El Paso, which has a graveyard that is, as some people say, the stuff of legends. This graveyard has been famous for quite some years, and there is some hauntingly objective evidence to back it up. There have been many incidents where a phone's battery went dead or drained in a matter of minutes, and compasses not working correctly and having a hard time pointing in the right direction. And the few times a camera or a phone worked, they captured some of the spookiest and hair-raising photos where there some visible shadows of a ghost, or on the stroke of midnight, some ghost pictures were taken. And this looked like a perfect place to document for these guys, but they didn't know that when most people encountered something terrible, they would come across something even more demonic and satanic. One of the guys they brought alongside them also told them that there were some crazy instances where people were seen to be possessed when they came at night, and some demonic rituals were happening inside. And the group started their first investigation in the evening, right near the place where some people were caught doing some witchcraft rituals. They began it with an EVP session, and during this, they seem to have recorded many strange sounds which are chilling to listen to.
Ron and Boy. Ron, Boy, Vern, sentence, right when I asked for your name. Psychic.
This was also the last time they got some signals from EVP before they completely stopped, and off into the night, they went on to start the second EVP and REM pod session. This time, too, it wasn't something very nervous or scary at first, but as time went by, it started to become scarier and scarier.
Can you say your name into this device that Collins got? Shot?
Really shot.
Okay.
Then, the paranormal music box and the REM pod started getting powerful signals simultaneously. They then tasted something very bad, which also happened to many others. One of their thermal image projecting devices turned off, which scared the whole bunch even though they weren't alone. However, luckily they still had one of those devices left without getting drained, and the things it showed are sure to give you some sleepless nights. Using this device to see what was happening, they saw a dead skeleton from the inside trying to untangle its leg inside the grave.
One on the ground. On the ground. This one's on top of these flowers, and the other one's next on the bare ground.
It's like it's a little spirit hanging out in the flowers.
Look at it. It's right on the ground, flat ground.
That's right where Richard would have been.
And just what they show in the movies, the ghosts do have a scarily elastic body, and this is the same thing that was projected by the device. One of its legs was getting bigger and longer in the process, and after this, they could connect to the ghosts, and the things it said were unimaginable and scary. The investigation ended, and the guys were lucky to get home with their souls intact to their bodies. What do you think? Did you ever see something like this? Let us know in the comments. Number 4, never sit in a grave. No matter how brave you might be, if the following video doesn't scare you, we don't know what will, because this video is something that seems unreal. You will say the same when you reach the end of this video, and if you are a person with a weak heart, we appreciate you coming this far and watching it with caution, because we don't know what will happen by the end. A group of paranormal enthusiasts who run a paranormal YouTube channel called Gank Gua P, which has attracted many paranormal fans around the world, and this particular time, they decide to go to a spooky graveyard which is quite famous for its paranormal activity happening during the night, located in Indonesia. This congested graveyard is home to more than 200 dead bodies and their empty and frustrated spirits, and the thing which shocks the most is all of the people buried there were never claimed by any friends or family members. No one has an idea about who these people are and are laid to rest in tombs with no name and are only indicated by their number. They ensure they get a short and silent explanation from the ghosts in the coming minutes, which we will discuss in the end. One of the investigators takes a deadly risk by getting down inside a tomb and lying alone with a flashlight emitting some light. It should have never gone this far, since things that came next will blow you out. While one of the investigators was left all alone, his friends were at a nearby reachable distance to help their friend, and all of it was being recorded in a camera fixed and pointing towards him. The one lying on the tomb was pulled by a ghost and ran towards his friends, only to be pulled to the ground again. They decide to run for their lives and don't return till the daylight to get their camera back. What do you think? Is it some edited footage or a work of a ghost? Let us know in the comments. Number 5, hide if it tells you to. A YouTuber named Franco TV decided to take the risk of entering one of the most haunted and visited graveyards he knows and through the course of the video, you can see him scared for his life, regretting that he went into it.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get the REM pod and put it right there on the first little step there and seeing what happens.
Franco decided to go inside the graveyard at midnight, enough to give you some answers. Still, he then decided to do an EVP and a REM pod session to try and talk to the supernatural spirits in the graveyard, and he successfully did this, but what came next was something out of this world. While communicating with the ghosts, he got a message,
"Hide now."
Hide now?
Even though he was quick to laugh it off, he was hit by horror as he saw a flashlight hitting from the other side of the grave. He then went near to see if it was security, but it didn't look like it. He then managed to hide, but it wasn't long until he came near him and Franco started shivering.
There's one of them.
He managed to get to his car, only to be spotted by that man and followed for some time. He successfully managed to escape, but what do you think? Did the ghost send this someone to hunt him, or is it just a cop? Let us know in the comments. Alright, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel to get more updates.